Hi, everybody. This is Audrey Darby from MatchMeWithAnAgent.com. I am here today with Erika Baldino. Erika is a Vice President of Business Development for Kensington Vanguard National Land Services. And Erika, I just wanted to, first of all, thank you for coming on board to this webinar. We are speaking with or on the line or watching us, we have a lot of real estate agents and other folks who are interested in learning a little bit more about title. So with that being stated, let me just ask you first how long you've been with Kensington Vanguard, and tell us a little bit about title and what we need to know. Educate us, if you would.
So I've been in the industry for 7 years. I've been with Kensington Vanguard for 3.5 of those 7 years. And what I like to tell agents and everyone else who's sort of in the real estate game that doesn't know how to explain title insurance to their clients is very simple. It's the only insurance that insures the past and not the future. So you'll get medical insurance in case you get sick, right? And you get insurance on your phone in case you break it. Well, buyers and sellers will pay for title insurance in case something happened on the property 20 years ago that they may or may not be aware of. So that's really the nuts and bolts of what we do. It varies state by state, the process, and I can certainly talk a little bit about that and how we get to a title binder. So what happens is in the 13 original colonies, which is anywhere from Florida all the way up to Maine, the search work is done all in the counties. So it's very rarely done online. And you would go county to county. We have offices in each of the county seats, and we would look at the deeds and records as far back as we can go. As you go more out toward California, the newer states respectively, most of it is done online. And what your title company will do when they're engaged is that standard, they will search back 60 full years. They will look at every deed, every record. They're going to look at every judgment on the buyer and seller. They'll look at any other liens and easements, and then they're going to give you a report before you close, which is what we call a commitment. It's very similar to a mortgage commitment. It says, we will give you title insurance if you correct all of these things we're asking you to correct. Just like when your mortgage commitment says, we will lend you if you correct this. Once we have a title commitment, we go to a closing. Very commonly now, the title company is also your escrow company. It wasn't like that years ago. So your title company will be the person in charge of the disbursements, cutting realtor commissions and fees, making sure everybody gets paid. And then post-closing, the title company is going to issue what's called a title policy. This is actually the most important part of the real estate transaction. It is the most important document that happens in the real estate transaction. There is a huge misnomer amongst real estate agents that you need the copy of your deed is somehow the most important piece you're going to get. It's not true, and you should advise your clients to frame your title policy. The reason the original deed is not as important as your title policy is because the original deed is recorded of record everywhere. They're online in some states and counties. They're in every county seat. So anybody can go to 123 Main Street and say, oh, Erika Baldino owns that. Your title policy is not recorded anywhere.
Wow.
And your title policy is held on. Sometimes attorneys hold on to it. Sometimes your agent will hold on to it. Sometimes the underwriter holds on to it. But what happens if these companies go belly up? And I've seen that. There's a couple underwriters that have gone belly up, and there's a lot of agents that have gone belly up, and then you're not covered anymore. Or if you can't find your policy, you're not covered. So I tell people to put that document in a safe, and that's really the document that you're going to want to reference when then you go to, after you purchase the house, when you then go to sell the house.
So if someone goes to sell the house, you're saying that if they have that title policy, and that was fascinating. Thank you so much for running that all down.
Of course.
I find that so interesting because going back 60 years, and in the area I live in, it's old houses, and yes. It's so interesting. So if they have that title policy kept somewhere safe, when they go to sell their house, I suppose what you're saying is that's a huge advantage to have that title policy right there, covering everything that's needed.
Correct. It makes it much easier on our end when you have the title policy to reference, and it also may provide coverage in case there's any issues that we find on our end.
So there's one thing that I would use. I used to try and explain it very simply to clients about title insurance. And I said, let's say you're sitting in your house, you've purchased a house and it's wonderful, and 20 years later someone knocks on your door and says, oh, by the way, this house was meant to be transferred to me by my great aunt Evelyn 50 years ago. So
that's not going to happen when you have Kensington Vanguard title insurance. But if you're unfortunate enough to have a title company that makes a mistake and there's an ownership claim, that's the reason you buy the insurance.
Got it.
So it turns into kind of a headache. You're going to do something like you're going to file a claim. You're going to talk to an attorney most likely, and the claim will then go to the agent. It'll go to the underwriter. And then if there truly is a loss in ownership, so if that $300,000 house that you bought is no longer yours, you will be reimbursed the full amount of money, and everything will, you'll be able to recoup all of your losses.
I understand. Now, is there anything that, let me just back up. Who pays for the title search? Is it different in different states? What can people know about that?
Sure. So it is different. It's different in states. It's different with county. There are some states where the buyer pays 100% of them. There's some states where the seller pays 100%. There's some states where they split it. Can it be something that you negotiate to make it a stronger offer? If it's typically, a seller paid state, you can negotiate, what buyers are willing to pay for the title insurance. Huh. So you can sort of use it as a tool depending on how much the premiums are. The title premium is also regulated state by state. So there are some states that have a set amount of premium, which goes off of the purchase price. And then there's other states that show you can kind of barter on the insurance, and you can barter on the amount that you're paying. So it's very crucial that each real estate agent is familiar on state to state specifics of how their marketplace really works.
Agent, I had noticed that over time, the closings happened at title agencies, and you had just mentioned that that's something that's relatively new. Tell us and the folks that are watching the webinar how that came to be, and what the role is of the title person at the closing table. They're the ones who seem to be in charge of everything, and it used to be that was the attorney.
Just to start with your question, it used to be back in the day that title companies would just send in the title commitment and bind the insurance, and that's it. In fact, a very long time ago, the attorneys would go and do their own searches, and they would send the records to the title company and go, does this look good? And the company would be like, yeah, sure, we'll bind it and we'll write the insurance. Now, today, we are so totally advanced. There are some states where that same attorney, like in DC, parts of Pennsylvania, that same attorney is the only person allowed to own a title company. They'll go and do the searches, and they'll bind the insurance. And then there's states where, you can have staff attorneys, but they're not necessarily the one doing the searching and the abstracting for you. So it is so different. Right. Where we are now in most attorney states is that the attorneys just don't want the liability of acting as escrow agent. In 2016, we had a really big change to the real estate landscape. TRID came out. There's a lot of laws that are in place now to protect the consumer, which I'm all for protecting the consumer. It has made the requirements on a small mom and pop attorney, for example, simply keeping secure emails. It's standard for a big company like mine. It's not standard for a mom and pop solo attorney. It's an added expense. So if they were to be the settlement agent, you would be in violation of not having a secure email. So that's something that they've kind of just said, hey, title company, you guys deal with it. I'm just going to go continue to practice real estate law. I don't want to be in charge of this anymore. I don't want the liability. I don't want to cut checks. So now it's morphed into, in these attorney states, where yes, they're still advising their client on home inspection issues, negotiation issues, contract issues, but when it comes to actual settlement, the title company takes over, and that's what they perform, and that's who they pay. They pay everybody.
Well, that makes total sense. So tell us a little bit about Kensington Vanguard and how you operate nationally, and anything further that you'd like to tell us.
So Kensington Vanguard is the largest privately held title company in the nation, and we have multiple offices all around the nation as well. I work out of our New Jersey office, but I do have a national presence. I pride ourselves in being a small mom and pop title company that's able to really provide great customer service and work with the client, while again being the largest in the nation. So we really have both things going for us. We do a lot of residential and a lot of commercial, so we are well versed in all things title insurance. We also do 1031 exchanges, which is a whole seminar that I could give, another webinar I could give as well.
Very good. So I understand that you are soon to be a local TV celebrity. You're doing a TV show in the New York area. Am I correct in that?
Yes. More details to come. I think our launch date is in the first week of September, which everyone will be made aware of.
Great.
But we're doing sort of a real estate lifestyle type real estate documentary, maybe you want to call it, that just really shows the best parts of New York and New Jersey to live. It shows the agents' listings, what's available in the market. It's not a reality TV show. There's no drama. There's no nonsense. It's really the nitty-gritty of real estate with professionals, the best in the business, and hopefully a lot of learning. So that's the goal of the show.
That's amazing. Well, I know you're going to do great. Can't wait to watch it. And
thank you.
Erika, unless you have anything else, you've shared so much information, and it really was interesting. And I thank you for kind of giving us all a sense of what it is that you do, what the title person is up to while we're closing transactions. And at Match Me with an Agent, we are very proud to be in business with you. We look forward to many, many transactions over the years together. So I thank you so much for your professionalism.
Not a problem. I cannot wait. And good luck, everybody out there on your matches.
Very good. Thank you so much, Erika.
Bye.